Hey everybody, welcome to Lunch with a Life Coach. My name is Deanna, certified life and wellness coach and fitness professional. Today we are talking about something that impacts any and all goals that you've set, whether it be fitness, whether it be wellness, whether it be something in life that you are working on, working towards. It is the topic of sleep, and it's a big one. It is something that when sleep isn't right, when you are not getting the optimum amount of sleep for you, not what you can get by on, but the optimum amount of sleep, the impacts are massive. And so, two things to get out of the way right at the beginning. One is, yes, if you are not in charge of your sleep, for example, you have a newborn, you are not in charge of your sleep. And two, for many folks, there are different medical conditions, medical reasons that actually impact their sleep. And so in those two situations, what I want you to, and this actually leads into sort of part 3, is what I want you to think about is two things. One, what do you need in terms of support? Have you been to your healthcare practitioner, and have you really looked into what can be done medically, et cetera? For folks with little ones, we often think of the newborn phase, but I had one that didn't sleep through the night for a long time. And so it's something that isn't limited to the newborn phase, right? It is to say, if you do have someone that's interrupting your sleep, you want to maybe do a little bit of review of that to see, what are some of the things you might be able to do differently. I say from a lens of having been through that. I know that's difficult. Sometimes it's nothing. Sometimes it is making sure you're reaching out for help to say to your partner, you know what, you need to be on tonight and I need a night of sleep. If you've brought home a new animal, if you've brought home a puppy or a kitten or a rescue, and all of a sudden that little critter is really in need of attention, support, etc. And I want you to think about how that's impacting you. What are the things you can do? Okay. Another topic for another day in terms of our life coaching work and wellness coaching work is sort of talking about, if sleep is not happening for you, what else can we optimize? So that's going to be a topic for another day. So let's then dive into what we can do. And actually, that's what I really want to speak to you about today is, where is there other opportunity for control? Where are there other opportunities for you to do things differently? Where are the opportunities for, or maybe not opportunity, but where are the areas that you're not really keeping the promise to yourself regarding sleep? And what I mean is, and I always say with love and kindness, and the truth is, we are sometimes our own worst enemy. And so when folks say, like, I can't sleep because I have a kiddo or whatever the case is, right? Yes, that's very valid, of course. And are you doing all the other things you can do, though, right? So that's what I want you to talk to you about today, is what is the sort of locus of control? Where are you able to make changes? So thinking about, what does your day look like? And I'm going to throw a whole bunch of things at you, and I want you to pick the ones that you think, yes, this is possible for me at the stage of life that I'm in. So during the day, are you getting outside? Are you, if available, are you spending a bit of time in the sunshine? I am in Canada, in Hamilton, Ontario. It's winter here right now when I'm recording this. Not a lot of sun available these days, but are you optimizing what's available? And are you just getting outside? That fresh air is really key. I'm a fitness professional. I'm going to ask, are you moving? You know what? Sometimes we have a hard time sleeping, and our brain is so busy, our body feels kind of, that sort of antsy underlying. I often say, like, it feels almost like vibrational. You're just like, oh, I just got like something. You know what? Sometimes it's because we haven't moved our bodies enough. Our bodies need and crave movement. And actually, that is part of the prescription, the recipe that is really key for sleeping well, making sure we've gotten outside, sunlight if available, at least daylight, right? And looking also at your movement. So those are 3 things. Now, I want you to then think about, what are the things that pop up in your head when I say those things? If you're yeah-butting, meaning like, oh yeah, but I'm so busy. Yeah, but I don't. I understand. And take it as evidence, as you know what's getting in the way of you moving or whatever the case is. You already know. Great. You know the thing that's kind of gotten in your way or getting in your way. What could you do differently? The other side of things I want to talk to you about, folks, is the evening time when it's leading up to your bedtime. Again, we've got to dig into our self-awareness. This is so key for behavior change. And often it is behavior changes we can make that actually can improve our sleep. And it's tricky at the beginning, right? Because we want to make changes. And if we're not sleeping well, we're super, super tired. So how can we feel motivated to make change and do something what feels like more, give more effort, do more things if we're really tired? You've got to choose to break that cycle, right? And a lot of it is we give away our control. We say, because my kid wakes me up, because I work shifts, because I struggle with sleep apnea, please see your healthcare provider, please, if you do struggle with sleep apnea or you think you may. But it is something to say, and yes, but don't give away your control. There are still things that you are able to control. Don't just assume it's because of X, Y, Z. Are you doing everything? So bedtime routine, you know that the critical component of changing behavior and doing things is often some kind of trigger, right? You get in the car, you remember to put your seatbelt on because it's habit, it's routine. And if you don't, something goes, right? You end up with that horrible noise that your car makes if you don't put your seatbelt on. Right? There was a habit there. There's a routine there. And then there's a trigger. There is something that will tell you, and sort of in that case, negatively reinforce you to put your seatbelt on. So what can you, taking that sort of idea of how we are, pretty simple creatures in the way that behavior is often a trigger or a cue, we might use that word. We see the behavior, and then there's the reward after, right? That 3-step process: cue, behavior, meaning whatever it is that you did or didn't do, and then the reward. So how can we think about that in terms of nighttime? You've got to think about setting yourself up for success with a great bedtime routine. So because what will happen is that as the routine gets more comfortable and repetitive, our brain likes repetition, our brain likes to know what's coming next. And if we are in this sort of state of, I don't quite know, and I'm rushing here and I'm rushing there, I'm scrolling social media, and then I'm doing this, and then your brain is sort of in fight or flight mode. And how possibly can we calm ourselves down and settle down to go to sleep? So what are the things that are quiet activities that you like to do in the evening? I don't know, make your list of whatever that might be. I also want you to think about caffeine. For a lot of people, caffeine in the afternoon or after impacts their sleep. And sometimes, somebody may have a cup of tea at 4 o'clock and not think about it because bedtime's still a little bit away. But I want you to, if that's you, and if you're struggling, take your, do that cup of tea at 4 o'clock or whatever, and make it decaf for a little bit, right? There's only one way to find out. Maybe it's not the thing, but you've got to make some changes and do some investigation, right? I also want you to think about when you're eating and, what you're eating. This is in no way, shape, or form, related to weight loss, etc. It is to say, we're talking about sleep. And if we have something, let's say with like dark chocolate or alcohol, folks, those are things that definitely can impact your sleep. And I will say, if you are in the perimenopause, menopausal stages, your sleep is like a whole, it has never been, we kind of get through the early, sorry to tell you, you got through those early days with a new baby. And you're like, okay, that's great. I'll always be in charge of my sleep. Not until you hit perimenopause, and then things go a bit squirrely. So that's to say, there's an example of giving over control. Oh, I'm in perimenopause. I'm not going to be able to sleep. Okay, personally, my sleep is impacted, and it is impacted way more if I don't cut out alcohol, make sure I don't eat too late, right? Because if it's too late and you had your dinner close to bedtime, well, your body's still trying to digest. It's kind of still busy, right? And so have a look at that, right? Only one way to find out: have your dinner a little bit earlier, see if that impacts you. I'm going to suggest you take alcohol out of the whole recipe if you're struggling with your sleep. Yes, it might make you sleepy and fall asleep, but it impacts your ability to stay asleep and sleep deeply. So really looking at those, and then of course, finally, screen time, right? Being on your phone, scrolling, even watching, upsetting things. You don't have to look far to see really things that are quite distressing. And so there's this really interesting thing that happens when we are people that are empathetic and you're worried about other folks. And yes, and you continuing down the rabbit hole of learning more about that worry right before you go to bed, it doesn't make anything any better for anybody else. It's only going to interrupt your sleep. So I am not suggesting we turn a blind eye to, the things that are going on in the world. And I want you to maybe be a bit more strategic about when and what and for how long you're going to consume that type of information. Okay. So really looking at what are the things to do during the day. Get outside more, move more, daylight, get some sunshine, etc. If it's super, super dark where you are, if you have the opportunity, invest in a happy light, right? One of those light, the little boxes of light that can give you the same effects as sunshine, right? It's a great option if that's available to you. And then making sure, right, as you're heading towards bedtime, and I want you to look in terms of your day, right? Cut out caffeine, maybe starting at noon. Right. What I will suggest is if you do reach for a cup of tea or coffee, whatever the thing is in mid-afternoon, maybe have a reflection as to why. Oftentimes, you know what, folks, we haven't hydrated properly. And we're feeling pretty tired, right? Your body and your brain need hydration. And for many folks, that dip in the afternoon, yes, it's maybe because we're not sleeping, but also look at what is in the locus of control. You know what, have a glass of water before you decide to have your caffeine containing beverage, right? Because you might find actually that's what your body needed. Sometimes it's because we haven't eaten enough, right? Did you kind of skip out on breakfast a little bit? You grabbed just a quick salad for lunch. I'm a fan of salad, but salad is not, going to keep you satiated throughout, and you might find that dip in energy. So have a look. Are you having enough protein with your breakfast? Are you eating enough at breakfast and lunchtime, right? Before you automatically reach for that caffeine, again, which might be impacting your sleep. So I hope that there are some, nuggets of wisdom in there that you can say, hey, this one thing sounds like it's possible for me, and I'm going to start working on that tomorrow. And I will commit to doing that thing for 4 weeks, and I'll see how I feel as I go. Keep a little journal, notes in your phone, something easy peasy. Don't add to your mental load. I know you have enough to do, but just to think, right? I want you to be able to reflect and see how things are going as you move through your different experiment to see how we can get you sleeping better. Okay. As always, I am cheering you on to, get after those fitness goals, those life goals. You know what? Your wellness can't wait. So get after it. As always, if you have questions, comments, if there's topics you'd like to discuss on Lunch with a Life Coach or Find Your Fit with Deanna, message me, Deanna at DeannaLangfordCoaching.com, and we'll see you soon.